Bentonville schools are drastically changing. Today we're covering some of the details about those changes and to see if this is a good change for your kids and for you to decide for yourself. So, let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. If you weren't aware, I actually was a real estate broker located in the dumpster fire, the horrible, the no good, terrible state also known as Illinois or Chicago. The worst. Anyways, I decided to move to the best place to live in America. And across all social research and many other places in America, Northwest Arkansas is by far the best place to live in America, by far. If you ever want to talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America, call me, let's meet up for coffee, text me, email me, whatever the case is, we can sit down and talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. And if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. It's literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are the schools like? What are the hospitals like? All the things you need to know about Northwest Arkansas. Boop, 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 boop. All the cool things to do here. Boop, 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 boop. Package, ship right to your home. Literally package, ship right to your home. Enter your name below, enter your address below. Where am I shipping this package to? Let me know with all the information below and make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking, It is my favorite four-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below and make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. All right, so let's cover some of the details of what's actually happening in two of the actual school districts, schools inside of Bentonville. It's only affecting two elementary schools. The first one we need to cover, the first one's a little bit less, is just kind of normal. The second one's a little more extreme. The first one we need to cover is the Mary Mae Jones Elementary School located by 102 in Bentonville. So if you don't know where 102 is, it's kind of like a major road that runs directly through Bentonville, goes directly to Centerton. It's kind of in the central south end of Bentonville, but regardless, Mary Mae Jones Elementary is actually adding an International Baccalaureate program to its school. Now it's an IB program. If you're not unaware of what that is, basically what it boils down to for the simplest terms is that they start prepping kids for college classes before college, essentially. So it's a nice way of saying they're higher academic, higher challenged AP classes, and then they actually get college credit for actual, like when they actually step into college. So a lot of times I've seen people start in elementary school, middle school, and high school, and by the time that they actually get to college, if you follow the full program, you end up in a lot of times in some fashion, almost 2 years of college knocked off the table, because you've done kind of the college prep classes in high school. So some kids would be interested in that. Some parents would be interested in that because it's a lot cheaper, obviously. And then on top of that, some kid, obviously this is up to you, that some kids don't really want to go to college and want to go more into the trades. So regardless, that's just out there. I thought it was very innovative, and we'll talk for some of the reasons here in a little bit in the future of this later part of the video, but let's talk about the second bigger change happening now. And one of the bigger changes happening is that Apple Glen, which I would consider is more of a shining star in the Bentonville School District, a lot of people want to go to Apple Glen, they're actually moving to something called a visible learning school. I have never heard of this, and I have heard rumors for the last year or so that they were basically from the superintendent of Bentonville, that they were looking to innovate ways of doing school inside of Bentonville. We'll talk about that in a second, but they're moving over to something called a visible learning school. I didn't know about this, so I had to research this. But after looking into it, and of course, if you have kids going there or you want your kids to go there, what it boils down to is two things. The first thing is that I look at this as more like a Montessori. If you don't know what Montessori is, it's very hands-on, very learning experiences. And so that's kind of what the gear is for the kids. They're saying it's very learning experiential versus most education, which is just like, we all can agree to this, it's more like read, memorize, repeat, test. That's basically what most education is about nowadays. Whereas this is leaning more towards like learning experiences. Now, I don't know what necessarily that means per se. Like obviously they have long examples of things of what it's gonna look like, but I think the core idea is a very Montessori style of learning, which is hands-on experiences versus just memorization. So I get that. It's very similar to like Thaden School, which is also in Bentonville. So I'm guessing they're maybe borrowing some stuff from there, which is a private school inside of Bentonville. But the other part of this I found interesting is that it's actually letting teachers kind of review themselves or letting other teachers review other teachers. So it's kind of like this thing where I guess in school systems, I'm not a teacher, so I'm kind of like spitballing here, but it's better for teachers to reevaluate themselves with other teachers versus like top-down effects. So I'm guessing they're leveling out the infrastructure there when it comes to what actually happens, and they're actually allowing students to be more hands-on learning experiences. That's just my basic knowledge of things. What it boils down to, if you want to skip all those details or if you want to dive in deeper, is the fact that Bentonville is actually innovating the school system inside of itself. They're going to allow different styles of teaching and learning, and this whole school this whole actual elementary school is going to be this whole visible learning. Now let's talk about some of the effects that I think will happen and some things I think why the reasons they're doing this. And before we jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications, way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, literally Instant Home Updates. So enter your information below, name, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. Where do you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? Let me know with all the information below. I'll make sure to miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Rogers? What new businesses are moving here? What's going on in the amphitheater? What's going on over to Walton Arts? What's going on in Fayetteville? What is so much going on all the time. Enter your name below, enter your email below. I'll make sure you get that email every single Friday. But sadly, side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most important person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And the first reason why I believe Bentonville is actually doing these innovative measures for their school district is because it's built into the name of what I said and what I mentioned before, is that they're innovative. Now, I'm not an education teacher, but I'm just gonna do my layman's perspective on the education system here and why I think they're doing it, is that we all are aware that the education system is just basically memorization, you repeat, you test, and you just do it all over again. Now, you can probably argue that when you memorize this stuff, you probably don't learn it that well. So what they're trying to do is actually innovate of what the future of education will look like. And rather than waiting for the system essentially to force its change, they're going to try to get ahead of the curve. So I appreciate that. And it fits the actual model of Northwest Arkansas, is that if you just if you back up around Northwest Arkansas, look at it as a whole, it is doing something different than a lot of other places have done ever. They've looked at Austin, they looked at Portland, they looked at California, they looked at California. They looked at other places, Colorado and other places that have up and coming, and said, okay, they have their mistakes. How can we take some of those faults that they did, add our own spices, avoid those things, and make it better? So that's why they hire a lot of city planners to make sure that they're going in the right direction. And Bentonville School District seems to be doing the same thing. They're very innovative. They actually spent a long time researching this. I actually talked to the superintendent. This has been a long process, and they landed on this kind of learning style. So there's a lot of intentionality. There's a lot of future thinking involved in this. And rather than the system forcing their hand in about 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they're going to be innovators and actually draw talent here. Which leads me into my second point of reason why Bentonville is actually changing some of the school structure and actually some of the learning styles there. And that is because talent is hard to come by in the teacher world nowadays. It's changed drastically in the last couple of years for obvious reasons. So innovating, making different changes, adding different styles, trying to get to the future is only going to help them with actually getting talent of good teachers versus just the standard kind of teaching style, etc. So when you have these kind of different things happening in the school district, international baccalaureate, like these different learning styles, even whatever the case is, it draws new talent and new eyes to the area versus a normal, I guess we'll say normal teaching structure. So it'll put eyes on Bentonville. It allows for more conversations, allows for different kind of talent hires, etc. So maybe if you're looking to be a teacher, or if you are a teacher and you might have some dabblings in that kind of stuff, this is a great place obviously to apply because they're looking for teacher specifics on this in general. And the third and final reason why I think Bentonville, Arkansas is changing the school system a little bit when it comes to these two schools. And I want to put a caveat there. They've been very clear about this with all their press releases and everything they've said outside. If you don't want your kids to be part of this school district whatsoever, when it comes to not Bentonville, but like when it comes to like the new schools, like if you need to change schools because you don't want your kids part of this, they're more than happy to do it. They're also accepting new students as well. So it's a kind of like an application slash if your kids you want your kids to be here, or slash the fact that it's if you don't want your kids part of it. Either way. But regardless, and of all of this, is that Bentonville, both consumers, because it is kind of a business model in the sense like schools are like, what do we want our schools to do? We have teacher boards, we have PTAs, we have obviously like councils of that nature. So what basically happens is that the actual consumers, the teachers, the parents, everyone else has kind of had a demand for this and has asked for it. So changes like this are part of the public sector, and part of it because in Bentonville it's very innovative and very thoughtful and want to make sure that we create, obviously not create, but harbor good students. And so adding these kind of flexibility learning styles plus adding new innovative ways of learning is just part of the cake when it comes to Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas in general. And the public kind of demands it because this is not a normal area and it's all for the better. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries, link below. Maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is, whatever it is, there's 3-day itineraries linked down below for you. So go ahead and download them, use them to get down here. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you the $10 tour so I can kind of show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some home for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see the next one.